Well, welcome everybody. First of all, I'm glad that you're interested in this topic after watching this morning's presentations. That kind of sparked in my mind as I was watching the 4-H presenter, I think it was Tracy, talking about that survey she had her students doing, and thinking, I'll bet there's a teacher someplace who would like to maybe have access to that survey without having to go through the process of developing it. So the purpose of what we're going to present this afternoon is, if you are already familiar with Survey123 and you've made one Survey123 anyway, you have the knowledge you need to kind of figure out what we're going to show you to do today. So here's the basic premise. Somebody has made a Survey123. They've taken some time and effort into it, and it's produced very, very good results. And somebody in a different org account, let's say I'm in Bloomington, and each school in Bloomington has its own account. So let's say a teacher in the Kennedy High School account came up with a really great Survey123, and the teacher at the Jefferson High School said, gee, I'd like to do that with my kids. Is there a way I can do it? But I would like to have a copy that doesn't have any data attached to it. So you have to transfer that survey to the other account. And with Charlie's help, we are going to demonstrate, and Kylie is here as well, how that can actually be done. So one of the questions, what's the benefit of doing it? Well, first of all, it's a repeatable process. Once you've learned how to do this and make the transfer, the reason for making the transfer, obviously, is you get a survey without having to do all the work to create the survey. The other thing I'm thinking about is that we will be able to develop a kind of a library of surveys that have been tried and tested out and appear to give really good data that provides interesting maps that can be made, or data for maps that can be made. So that is one of our long-term goals as we're doing this. So what Charlie did is he took the time to make a video, and we're going to work our way through the video. At some point in the video, we're going to actually have you, if you haven't already done so, upload a XLS file to an app called Survey123 Connect. And if you haven't done that yet, type it in the chat window so Charlie knows that you haven't done that yet, and he can maybe help you with that. So I'm going to switch to the video. And we're going to go full screen and unplug my earphones because you couldn't hear this output now. Here we go.
Survey123 is a great tool for data collection. I belong to multiple ArcGIS online organizations. If I create a survey in organization A, but want to use it in organization B, how can I do that? Or how can a friend who created a survey in her org share it with me to use in my org? It is doable using Survey123 Connect. This is a separate desktop application linked from the resources page for Survey123, and the application is available on Windows and Macintosh and Linux. Note that there is not a version for a Chromebook.
Okay, I'm going to stop the video there. So if you haven't done that yet, one of the things that you can do is go to this page, the landing page, go all the way down to the bottom, and this, I believe, is going to take you to the Nope, that's going to take you, I'm sorry, that takes you to the slideshow. Which isn't all that bad, but we're not going to do that right now. If you can open that, you can open that link and you can get access to the slides. This link right here will take you to a story map that will allow you to download Survey123 Connect to your computer. Charlie, is there anybody that chimed in that they hadn't done that yet?
Not so far. So the key is Survey123 Connect needs to be installed in order to do these steps. You can watch it, of course, but if you want to do something with it, you'll need to have the software installed, and it is only available for Windows and Macintosh.
Okay, well, let's continue the video and then we'll get to the point where we're going to actually go to the process here.
The replication process relies on the power of the XLS spreadsheet format. The process is the same, no matter how complex the survey is. For this demo, I'll use a very simple survey. What is your name and where do you live? I've created the survey in the source org where I have published it, and I now have 2 surveys in the source org. And this survey, the share survey, you can see with a series of files. I'm going to share it into my target org where I have no surveys, either visible through the contents or in my Survey123 application.
Okay, so what Charlie is taking you through here is the process.
I'm already logged into the source.
Back it up a touch. So what he's describing is the process that was used to create the spreadsheet that you're going to upload to your Survey123 app. So if there aren't any questions, we'll continue on to the next section. I think I can just leave it this size.
I'm already logged into the source organization, and now I need to log into Survey123 Connect. I'll use my source credentials. And here you can see the 2 surveys from my source organization. But notice that the share survey is up in the cloud. I want to put it into the application on my desktop. So I'm going to download it. It's now shared with my computer. Now let's take a look at the survey. And you can see that my location has been identified, and I have the 2 questions from the original. Next, let's explore it in the XLS spreadsheet.
So if we look at our slides over here, basically you are logged into your regular school. AGO stands for ArcGIS Online. When I learned that acronym, I kept saying, what does the GO mean? So ArcGIS Online account, and you're going to go to your Survey123 Connect. You're going to log in there, and any app that's in there that is not downloaded into your account, well, let's see if I can do what Charlie did here. There we go. So the little cloud icon means it's in your account, but it's not in Survey123 Connect. So by clicking the download, you bring it in physically into Survey123 Connect. All right, let's go to the next step.
the spreadsheet show the nature of the survey. And we can change things either in the Survey tab, where there's nothing for us to change on this one, or the Settings tab, where I'll come in here and call it Share Survey 2 and display that. Now, let's save the file to the desktop, where I'll call it Share Survey 2 and close the survey. With the XLS stored on the desktop, I can now log out of the source and log in with my target credential. And here in the target, I have no surveys, either in the Survey123 web app or visible in my contents.
So in this case, the survey is, Charlie's being both the source and the target in this one. So he's going to create it in one org that he's in, and then he's moving it to a second org. So that's basically you sharing your survey with somebody else, or eventually you taking a survey into your account. The one thing that is doable at this point, before you save that spreadsheet to the desktop, if you want to make some additional changes to what the survey looks like, you can do it if you know how to do it with all these tabs. Each tab has different actions that you can take. You can add a question, you could delete a question, you could do some other things in this area. And inside the Survey123 app, there are a series of videos that you can watch that can take you through a lot of that process. Does that sound correct, Charlie?
Yeah, the videos are not in the app itself. They are on the website of the for Survey123. So you will see a lot of videos down at the bottom of the resources page that walks you through how to do things. The Survey123 Connect app really is not for the faint of heart for monkeying with a survey. So I don't recommend people start there. You get comfortable with, make the simple things that we're doing here work, and then you can start climbing the steep hills.
Yeah, I would completely agree with that. Worst case scenario, you delete everything and reload the spreadsheet, and you'll have, in a sense, a copy that hasn't been altered, and you can go ahead from that point. I thought there were actually links to tutorials built into the Survey123 app, Connect app. Is that correct?
Maybe there are.
Kylie, is that correct?
There may be. I don't access them that way. I guess I should.
All right, let's go to the next step.
And here's my survey that I saved from the source, and I can drag it onto the Connect app. Here's the survey, and it shows my rough location, but it's only in the computer. It's not yet up online, so I need to publish it. And now the publishing is complete. So when I go to my surveys and refresh, I now have a share survey, and in my contents, I also have my share survey too.
Okay, Charlie, do you think at this point we should actually physically do that?
I would actually keep going.
Okay. So as we move through this process, the key thing is that Excel file we are providing for you today. If you're going to do this, obviously you're going to export the file so somebody else can open yours, or they're going to provide you with another file that you can upload and turn into a survey yourself. So at that point, you're logged out of the Connect app. You don't have to be there any longer. You do as Charlie said, you go to your account, you log in. And at this point, oh, we've already talked about that. Okay, I'm just repeating the steps, I'm sorry. So publishing it here to your account, you do get a readout of all the information and how it was imported into or exported to your regular online account. And as Charlie just showed you, now the survey is in your AGO, your ArcGIS online account. So let's pick it up at that point.
The survey can be explored just like I would explore a normal survey that I've created with the web application. But when I go into the design, since this was created and copied using Survey123 Connect, I don't get to edit it. And what I see is just an example view of what a survey might look like. But I can still open it up for collaboration with everyone or the members of my org or groups, and even see what the survey looks like in its regular state. Now there is a slight difference in the map that is displayed, and no geometry is captured yet. But this is how I can share a survey.
Okay, I think moving down my kind of a couple of key things here that Charlie just showed. The first time you do this and you get to this design page, you're used to seeing all the options and everything, but you can't literally make any changes in the survey at this time. The button that you do, you go to the collaborate page and you click on this button, and then you get to look at the survey itself and what it looks like. And as Charlie said, you should also at this point decide who you plan to share this with and what the submitters are allowed to do. And then at the bottom of the slide, all the steps are just kind of in a row. So this, I will post the video. I'll send it up to YouTube and provide that link. And of course, you've got the slides here today to work your way through. So let's finish the video here.
I need to go through a process. I need to install Survey123 Connect on my computer. Then I log into the source org and into the Connect app using the source credentials. In Connect, I download the source survey from online into the local application where it saves as a series of files on the local drive. Then in Connect, I open the local survey and view it as an XLS file. I can make any tweaks I need to do and then save that XLS file to my computer. After logging out of Connect, I can then provide that XLS file to a recipient or to my target org. The target logs in to both the org and to Connect using the same credentials. In Connect, I open the XLS file and then publish it from Connect into the target org.
Okay. So that takes us through the process. I'm going to actually stop sharing my screen right now. And what we would like the participants to do would be to put Zoom off to one side if you can. Open your Survey123 Connect app, and then drag and drop the file onto your Survey123 Connect app. Now, there is another option that you are given, and that's to bring it into Survey123 using a button that you click and say, bring it in by file. I have Macintosh, Apple products. It comes in, but the name of the survey is lost. It just comes in as Form 1. When I dragged and dropped it, it came in everything perfect with the name intact. So we're kind of recommending drag and drop. So are there any questions at this point from anybody?
And Jeff and Amanda, go ahead, and Stacy, go ahead and turn on your mics if you would like, just because it's a small group here. We're doing something that is a higher level kind of activity, so it's a small group.
All right, I opened the folder and I dragged the XLS form on top of where it said new survey, and it imported, and now, so I'm in Connect. Is that all I'm doing at this point? Is I'm
Yeah,
still
why
in
don't you share your
Connect?
screen so we can see what you're doing?
So Stacy, you are then representing the target.
Yep.
You're logged in to Connect, and
I didn't have to log in. Oh, okay, I see. There is a place to log in, but I hadn't done it yet. Here, let me share.
Yeah, share your screen. People can actually see you going through the process.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yep.
We can.
So yeah, so down here, I hadn't signed in yet. So this is my SSO. Oh. Make it hard to get in these days. I've got a Duo enabled, so stand by.
So you might note that under survey descriptions, it's just a big block of black. That's because that's not a question, it's a block of text. So at this point, it only shows up as a block of text. Once it's imported into your ArcGIS online account online, it opens up and everything's as it should be.
That's weird.
You did a drag and drop, correct?
I did a drag and drop.
And so Stacy, you are now logged in to Connect, is that correct?
I'm in Connect, but I logged into, yeah, I logged in.
You logged in, and so you have copied you have transferred the survey into the Connect app, but it doesn't yet exist online.
Correct.
So now you need to move up your cursor on the left-hand side to the word publish and click on publish.
And this will now publish it into your ArcGIS Online org account that you use to sign into Connect.
And they're warning you again here that once you do that, you can't make any changes.
And so
Got
this
it.
this takes 30 seconds to go
Can
through.
I go back to my Connect app and make changes and republish it here?
That's a good question. It's already been published once. I suppose it would come in as number 2 with the same
What
name.
what I would recommend is if you're going to make changes, you do that before publishing, because so you may want to go into the org and delete the survey that is in your org. I honestly don't know what happens if you.
I can see myself making a mistake and then wanting to do it a second time.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
So-
because it wasn't coming in because I was going over to the option to export it by, or import it. I can't remember. It must be exported by file, and it just came in as Form 1. I uploaded it sometimes 2 and 3 times, but every time I did, it went from Form 1 to Form 2 to Form 3. It was the same survey. So they just added a number. I don't know what it would do with the actual title, other than maybe put the title name with a number 2 behind it, meaning this is the second one you've uploaded.
So should I go to ArcGIS Online now?
Yes,
Okay,
This
so
is
there.
and there it is.
So,
Does anyone else want to talk that's in the call? Don't mean
so you're now
hogging the
seeing
attention.
you're now seeing the Internet's Access survey that is up in your organization. So you're looking right now at what's in your organization. The Internet
Okay.
Access survey, your GeoMentor survey, and the GeoMentor.
Okay, so here's my Survey123. So if I refresh,
And that's showing all surveys, not
that's all showing.
surveys that
Yeah.
So down below on the left, you see the black all surveys with a down arrow next to
Oh.
them. And you can change that to surveys I own, and it'll just show you those
There
separately.
it is.
There it is.
This
So
is
double
Kylie. I
click
was
on
just-
it.
Kylie's
So-
trying to speak.
Sorry,
Okay.
I just wanted to jump in on the editing and if you need to make changes part. So I would say that it's going to depend on the type of changes you're making. If you just want to change some of the text around the questions, if you just want to clean up maybe the description you used or things like that, by all means, you can change those in Connect and republish, and it'll update that same survey. So even if you've shared it with people, they'll get those changes. So when you say, is it safe to republish again, I would say it depends on exactly why you want to republish.
Yeah.
Well, it sounded like she published it and then went, oh, I wanted to do this. So it's
I
still
missed the what is this? We have kindergarten going on here at
Yeah.
the same time.
Yeah, well, maybe it was to change some text or make some alteration, some edit that Kylie mentioned.
Yeah. So Stacy,
Going back into Connect, making that change, and then publishing it a second time. You just get a second copy?
Okay, so when you go back into Connect and you publish again, when you've made like a simple text change or say you wanted to add another field, what it does is it's the same as doing that in the web designer, right? You could go into the web designer, decide to add a field and republish, and it just updates your existing survey. And it's the same with Connect. So if you do need to just make a text change or something, since it's connected to that survey in your organization, like we were just seeing in that browser tab, say you wanted to change here from census block group number to census block group number for my region, or whatever you wanted to change that text to be. You could make that change and just republish. And what it would do is update that existing survey that you have right there.
okay, so it does update
Okay,
in the org what you are based on the way the latest configuration in Connect.
Correct.
Okay, I'm going to
It's
read.
actually, yep, so give it a new name. And then go ahead and click publish again. So you notice right here, the survey will be updated without affecting the existing data. That means you've made a change that it can just update things. Now, if you've deleted a field, it's going to warn you here that, hey, we have to create a new feature service. Like there's certain things you do that's going to require a new service be spun up, which could cause you to lose any data people have already sent in. But
I
this
understand.
app is
Yeah.
pretty good about warning you about that. But it's nice to see it's not going to affect your existing data. Those are the kinds of changes I don't feel bad just hitting publish again.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. That's
Yeah,
helpful.
thanks.
I think of survey as just an alternate to that web editor. In general, if you could do it safely in the web editor, you're doing the same kinds of things in Survey123 Connect, just a different interface for editing. So if you refresh this page now, you should see your new name.
Yep.
Great
New
too.
name.
Yep. And something to keep in mind, you could have surveys, multiple surveys with the same name, because behind the scenes, it's not like files in a folder together on your desktop where they all need a unique name. Behind the scenes, they're actually using unique identifier, long, messy names for these. So you won't have issues like if you drag and drop it again and publish it again, it would probably use the same name. It's just they'd have different identifiers behind the scenes. And it'd be easy to shoot yourself in the foot because you might not be able to tell which is which.
Mm.
Okay, that's very helpful.
Good safety
Yeah,
tip.
that is helpful.
Yeah, extremely helpful. And my guess is most teachers would be happy just to be able to learn these steps to upload the survey as is. They're probably one of the reasons for even approaching it this way is you remove all the front end work that Charlie talked about this morning on creating a survey that's going to produce good data that you can actually use. And I think that's kind of the key thing. Last thing I'm going to do here is for those of you watching, this is the view of the survey. So you've got a link here to a story map that the user can go to get the number that they need to put into here. Because most people obviously are not going to know their census block group number. So that's important because we actually have two ways of mapping the data. One is by their census block group number, and at the bottom, by their school location. So we've got two ways of physically displaying the data using the block group and the geo point.
So this is data that is, or this is a survey that some people will think of as invasive. How many people live in your space?
Right.
How many devices do you have? What kind of internet access do you have? Where are you? And that isn't the kind of thing that you want to get very fine-grained about. So Jim's done a really nice thing here, identifying, giving people a way to identify their block group, and that will be assigned, or that'll be just a field, an attribute. And then down at the bottom, the whole survey gets attached to the school building. And so people at the school will be able to have the data just from whichever block group, but they won't know who it is.
Correct. And that was important. Charlie, correct me if I'm wrong, would it be possible then to take this layer and find a block group layer and join the two so the data actually would be displayed within the block groups?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. So that's why I really think this is a cool idea. Then you can start doing core pleth maps. You can filter by number of users, type of devices, type of service, et cetera, et cetera. So you've got the opportunity to map things in a number of different ways. I'd be curious, I know Jeff is here and Amanda, if this is something you would be interested in actually using in your school or school district to find out what's going on with internet use with your kids.
So Jeff and Amanda and Leah also, any thought about if your school or district would be interested in knowing about persons, devices, and connectivity?
Yep. Jess says yes. And Stacy, are we done at 50? One.
Correct. We're done at 150.
Yep. So there's just a few. So if anybody has any, I guess my main question would be, were Jeff and Amanda and Leah able to actually go through the process, or is that something you're going to actually have to do after we leave this session?
So do you envision that this would be something a school would, maybe a teacher who uses GIS would do this, but then post it on a school website to try to get as broad a participation as possible? Or because it's by individual, right? We want to know.
By household.
By household.
Yep. So we don't want several people from the same household doing the survey, just one person.
Mhm.
Yeah. And this could be done, this could be organized by an individual school. It could just be even one class where somebody says, nobody else is interested in this, but I am, for my 12th grade class. What is your access? Or it could be an entire district says, for all of the schools in our district, we want to get this information, but we have 5 different schools. Each school has their own org. You're going to collect it inside your org, so we don't want the information going across the different schools. We're really concerned about the privacy that way. So it's really pretty flexible.
Correct. And the person from Wisconsin was actually talking about doing a statewide survey using this survey. So it's could be from the entire state to a school.
Yeah, they did survey us. Our district did ask these some of these questions in March about what kind of access we had. And yeah, if there was geography attached to it, because they didn't, I'm sure they didn't want to include addresses and things, but if we just knew geographically where people were, and you could see then hotspots of where there were kids without good access, and then maybe address that, because as it was more like, well, okay, 10% of our kids don't have good access, but we don't know if it's because they just aren't hooked up or if it's because they literally don't have it in their neighborhood.
And just as you're saying that, this is not a fixed thing, because people may have upgraded their internet. They may have gotten a new device. They may have gotten somebody who came home from college, and there's now another person who is going to school at the home. And so it's a variable thing. And so somebody could be saying, we need to do this maybe a couple of times during the year.
It would be great information to have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then of course, my view as a teacher is start almost like geo inquiries. The beauty of the geo inquiry, I don't have to make the map. I don't have to find the layers. You just give me the little lesson plan that goes along with it. And essentially you could create the same thing here. You could say, okay, here's the survey, collect the survey. And, you could even give them some instructions on different ways to map it if they wanted to, or they could come up with their own. But the data is their data, and they can decide to share it with whomever they want to. It could be kept totally private with just administrators and the district, or it could be more public. So whoever owns the survey, once it's imported into the org, can make those decisions.
Right.
Um,
And so going back to Jim's earlier surveys, the idea of the 3 surveys was, hey, here's a survey that somebody in the school can do. That first one, where is the school? Where's the front door? The second one, the pet survey, hey, everybody in the school can do. And yeah, this is fun. This is really kind of cool. This third survey, hey, this is really powerful data and really important. And wow, we can actually accomplish some really significant things if we get enough people to take this survey seriously and generate the data. And wow, I as a student could be doing all kinds of things. And hey, there's a competition that I could do my project within, survey some people, and come up with all kinds of really interesting information.
well, I think we need to, yeah. I think we need to end the session right now. And I can't remember who's coming up next.
Stacy, did this session begin at 10 after?
Yeah,
And does it then go to the top of the hour?
I think
If it's a 50-minute session,
does it go to 2?
that's what I wrote in on my little cheat sheet from what I was seeing on the hub page. That it's 1:10 to 2 o'clock, and then the next one is 2:10 to 3 o'clock.
Okay, we're good then.
Yep, I think we're good, which is really exciting. So the question,
We're good.
I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry. I have a question, but you can pose yours first.
Well, there's a question from Leah that says, is there an easy way to get this to my soup right now? Or no? And Leah, if you're interested in, if the soup already has access to ArcGIS Online and wants to get people in the district engaging with this, you could take that spreadsheet that Jim used and generate the survey online inside your organization and say, hey, soup, I got this done for you.
Correct.
Always be valuable to the soup.
Rule number 1.
I think that that was related to what I was going to just talk about too, is that I think administrators need to see what the end goal is too. So do you have any mocked up maps or something that would mimic what this could show?
I would say that the best strategy in this case would be to have the faculty do it first. And then to say, oh, we can sort of see what this might look like and why these questions are designed as they are. Let's get this broader.
If I hear Stacy correctly, she's saying we haven't collected any data from anybody on this one yet.
Right.
So there's no way, I can't think of a way to make a mock-up of a map at this point.
You could invent it, but
yeah, you could invent it, but basically, I guess you could find a map that's got data down to the census block unit and just say, this is how the data is going to be displayed. You could take income, you could take any small piece of or big piece of data and just display it and say, okay, once the information is in, this is how you're going to be able to see it. You'll be able to see, because a block group is basically a portion of a specific census tract. Some of them are divided up into 6. Some block groups are a census tract, I think. Is that correct, Charlie? Because it's a group. The block group, as I understand it, is what a census taker is assigned to that area to do census taking. Is that correct?
Typically, yep, they might, in the case of a lot of people in a small space, you might have some of them assigned to an individual block. But
I think the point too is good to make with the superintendents, that it's a level of geography that when the data are aggregated, they won't show individuals.
Right.
And so just like you said, Jim, like showing a map of what the resolution or what what it would look like without actually having the data, and then suggest that we could look at this with income, or with our busing routes, or with our different enrollment, because the school knows where all the kids are. You have to ask special permission to get those data, but
Well, and then you can, once you've got the layer, you could literally filter it for one specific block group if you wanted to. I don't know why you would, but I mean, you could filter it down to that level so that it's displayed, because I know some people drive buses around with internet hotspots in them and try to figure out where to park them.
exactly.
So that would be, and it would be interesting even within a block group to see the variance in internet speeds, because you'd have all that information.
so Leah's asking the question about, do we get access to that spreadsheet? And is that?
Here, I can show that.
Are you talking about the one to make the survey, Leah? Because
Yeah, and it's not, no pressure. I'm just sitting here thinking and brainstorming. So, I'm just curious if we can have easy, I don't want to create work for people, but if there's a way for me to have easy